Here at Unit 11, let's look at intervals. We're going to look particularly at the intervals of a fourth, fifth, and sixth. When we say look at intervals, that implies the visual, and indeed we want to see how can we define these intervals, how do we see them readily, but importantly in music we want to hear the interval. So what does the interval sound like? So as you explore these, really open your ears, listen to that sound. And then we're pianists, we have to play the interval, so how does that interval feel at the keyboard? So we have the touch, we have the sound, and we have the visual. Let's look at the touch. An interval is defined by the span of notes. So if it spans 2 adjacent pitches, it's a second. 3 adjacent pitches, we have a third, fourth, and fifth, and so on. And then even a 6, but we only have 5 fingers, no big deal. We're just going to open the hand to stretch for larger intervals. How do we open the hand? Don't do this. In other words, we stretch out finger 5. It's terribly uncomfortable. So we open from the thumb. Just let the hand open here from the thumb, and we can have reaches with comfort. Visually, we need to identify these intervals, and we know on the staff the notes will be line or space. So if you have intervals that include both a line and a space, that's going to be our second, isn't it? As we learned before. But notice what other intervals line to space? The fourth is, and also the sixth. So seconds, fourth, and sixth are line to space or space to line. Whereas the intervals that are line to line, space to space, these are the ones that stack up in thirds, or our new interval, the fifth, line to line or space to space. That's our visual identification. Orally, listen to the promenade from Pictures at an Exhibition. And we can hear those fours. Second, and here's up a fourth, and a fourth, fourth. Let's move to Lion Sleeps Tonight. We're going to hear our chord, and then this larger interval of this 6, right? So we have this stretched open. We have could have harmonized it with a 1 chord and then that sus4 chord, couldn't we? But this is an alternative. We're harmonizing it with this 6. Importantly, what do we get at the end of that phrase? What step of the scale are we there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That very important step 5 of this scale. And then melody moves up to the step 5 here also. Notice the melody. 5, ya dee da da, 4, dum ba da, 3, and 2, ba bum ba bum bum. So the contour of that melody isn't just adjacent notes, but it's actually steps down, measure to measure. So many melodies do that, just floating down. It gives the architecture, if you will, to that shape of the melody. If you become aware of those, it'll tremendously help your ear, and it tremendously helps the reading.